Welcome back. As you know, I'm Eli, the computer guy, here for the Daily Blob, where I shake my brain nipples every day so I can get some of that dirty YouTube money and afford to be able to provide you folks high quality, in-person, hands-on technology education in Durham, North Carolina. So my pride and joy is something called Silicon Dojo, silicondojo.com. We did our first class in a while in Durham in a place called American Underground last week. Next week, we are going to be back at American Underground to teach a class on the OpenAI API, and I plan to be doing those classes, oh lordy, probably every 2 weeks or so. And yeah, I'm getting used to this commute. It's a hell of a commute. I now live in the petaburbs. The petaburbs. There were the suburbs, and then there were the exurbs, and now I live in the petaburbs. I commute 3.5 hours to the Research Triangle area because it is a great area. Asheville is a great area to live in. Research Triangle is a great area to actually do something in. So anyways, I'm here currently at the All Things Open conference. If you've never been to the All Things Open conference, it's a really good conference here in Raleigh, North Carolina. So that's why we have a different background here. I'm doing stupid commutes so I can learn what's going on in the real world and then give you my opinion. And oh lordy, motherfuckers, I have some opinions. So yeah, this whole anti-Chinaman thing is just getting worse and worse, and stupider and stupider. And surprise, surprise, the Chinese folks don't exactly like being called Chinaman. And at a certain point, if you keep calling them Chinaman and acting like they be a Chinaman, they are going to push back. And then once they push back, you've got to push back more on them. And then we just go into this whole stupid cycle. So this whole stupid cycle has been going on for a long time. Again, under the Obama administration, the Nobel Peace Prize winning president literally won his Nobel Peace Prize for showing up to work that day, which it's not a good thing. Anyways, right, he focused on something called the Pacific Pivot way back when under the Obama administration. And the idea was that even while the Afghan war was still going on, we were still in the middle of our longest war, right? He still pivoted the entire military establishment to point at China. Because China is the real thing. I have been informed by my leadership that China is my enemy. Why? I don't know. Don't ask questions. Don't ask questions. Go and fight in wars you don't understand. Die and suffer worse than death in wars that you don't understand because your superiors in existence tell you that is a small price to pay. Anyways, that's what we have in this democracy. So anyways, we've been having this whole Chinaman thing going on for a long time, and it's curious. Recently, last week I guess it was, China pushed back, and they are now requiring export licenses on rare earth minerals. So these minerals that go into batteries, go into electric motors, go into those types of things, those are called rare earths. China cornered the market on rare earths a while ago. Like 15 years ago, they cornered the market, right? 10 years ago, there was this whole blow up between China and Japan over rare earths. But anyways, right, our country, I mean, the important thing to understand here is that America doesn't have to do anything. The problem is never us. The problem is always somebody else. Anyways, so they've cornered the market on rare earths because, again, we don't mine them, we don't process them. Because of rules and regulations and environmental laws, it's too difficult to do that here, and so they're willing to do it. And so they've been doing it. So they've cornered the market, again, 90%. And so now basically what they're saying is any product that leaves China that has like 0.1%, 0.1% rare earth material in it has to get a license, right? And they don't want to be exporting for dual use products, right? So that's one of the things we've been hitting China with, right? We have been sanctioning China. China has been selling dual use material to Russia. Dual use is something that could be used in the civilian world or in the military world. China sells dual use equipment to Russia. Could be used in the civilian world, could be used in the military world. So we have been punishing China. So China turns around and looks at it and says, well, you bomb the shit out of Iran when you're not in a war with Iran. You're killing Venezuelans when you're not at war with Venezuela. You've pointed your entire military establishment in our direction. And the weapons that you want to use, that you're desperate to use to kill Chinese people, use rare earths. So basically, they've just come out and said, hey, you need a license. Which, again, turnabout is fair play. But a lot of people are very angry right now. China man, you don't understand how this works, China man. Do you see me? Do you see me? Do you see you? Do you understand the difference here? When we put sanctions on you, that is because the superior society is telling the inferior society what is what. The inferior society just needs to sit there and do what we tell you to do. So anyways, we have this whole crap show going on. Trump wants to put 100% tariffs onto China now. We're going to get punished. Again, the American people will keep getting whipped until everybody else knows what Trump wants them to do. Anyways, I think the interesting thing is Europe, right? God damn, dear Europeans, when are you folks ever going to grow a backbone? Inquiring minds would like to know, when the fuck are your balls going to actually drop and you're going to remember how it is to be a man again? I don't know. One of the big problems I have with Europe, the biggest issues I have with Europe is, fuck me, they roll over and piss on themselves faster than a fucking Republican senator does under the Trump administration, right? America does all kinds of stupid stuff, which is what it is, right? We're a country, we do stupid shit. The funny part is, Europe just keeps fucking going along with it. I remember back, with the EU and the Euro, one of the reasons I get so pissed with Europe is I was excited about the EU because it would be a counterbalance to the United States. Europe is relatively close to us morally and ethically and with worldviews and all that kind of stuff. So if we have a strong counterbalance that still looks at the world in much the same way that we do, that's a nice thing. Right? Like China looks at the world a lot different than we do. India, fuck me, they look at the world entirely differently than we do. So if you have a counterbalance where the other side looks at the world entirely different than how you do, that's a big issue. But if you can have a counterbalance, you kind of agree on 90% of the shit out there. You just kind of argue at the edges. I actually think that's a great thing. But yeah. I was too hopeful for Europe. Eli, why are you such a bitter old geek? 'Cause I had hope. You don't understand. I am so bitter because I had so much hope. And that's the thing, is Europe, Jesus Christ. Oh, they're just pissing over themselves to prove that they're real alpha dogs too. And so what we have right now going on is the Dutch government, oops, not used to this camera, CNBC takes control of Chinese-owned chip maker Nexperia in, quote, highly exceptional move. So for national security reasons, they have taken control of this Chinese company that is in the Netherlands, basically because, there's a national security issue. And so, yes. I mean, that's the problem. The problem when you deal with China, if you're going to do business in China, is you never know when the government is going to come in and just take your business. That is why you should not do business in China. Wait, what? Oh, so yeah, this crap is just going to get stupider. Because the problem here, right, is that China has pretty strong footing. right? They have a pretty strong footing, and they're tired of our shit. They're tired of the Western world moralistic horse crap that is coming out. Again, the idea that we can put sanctions on them for things like dual-use products, but when they put sanctions on us for dual-use products, like we lose our minds, right? Not even that, not even that it's a bad idea, or not even that they disagree with it. What, right? There's a way you can disagree with things. There's a way you can say, I don't think this is an effective way of doing stuff. There's a way of saying it's a mistake. But we don't really say it. No, we are saying that this is somehow morally and ethically unacceptable. How fucking dare a mongrel of all people tell us what we can do with their stuff? Right? Again, think about this in the United States. If we see something out of our peripheral vision, we believe we have the right to say what should be done with that thing, right? If an American company sells you a drill, literally at this point in time, our Congress believes we should be able to tell you what you can do with the product of that drill, not even just the drill itself, right? Whether or not the drill can be sold to you, that's a question. Okay, fine. What you can do with the drill if it gets sold, that gets a little bit foggier, but maybe. But think about this, right? You buy a tool, but because you use that tool to create an entirely different product, we believe that we have the legal right to tell you what you can do with that other product. And if you violate with what we say, we can throw you in jail for the rest of your life. Like... Anyways, so we have China pushing back, because of course China's going to push back, and the Western world doesn't know what the fuck to do. It's like at a complete loss. And so if they're pushing back, then what we need to do is punish them. But they don't really like this whole punishment thing, because who the fuck are we? So they're going to come up with their own restrictions. And then because they're acting out, right? They're a young society. They don't fully understand how to operate in the globalized world. So since they're acting out, we'll punish them even more. And yeah, if you've dealt with teenagers, dealt with human beings, really, how do you think that shit's gonna go? Anyways, coming from CNBC, the Dutch government has taken control of Nexperia, a Chinese-owned semiconductor maker based in the Netherlands, in an extraordinary move to ensure a sufficient supply of its chips remains available in Europe amid rising global trade tensions. Yes, nothing says your belief in capitalism like nationalizing companies. Have you seen that again under the Trump administration? How much shit is getting nationalized? Think about it, right? 10% share he bought in Intel, percent shares in lithium mining companies, all of these kinds of things. Nexperia, a subsidiary of China's Wing Tech Technology, specializes in the high volume production of chips used in automotive, consumer electronics, and other industries, making it vital for maintaining Europe's technological supply chains. On Sunday evening, the Dutch Minister of Economic Affairs revealed that it had invoked the, quote, Goods Availability Act on the company in September in order to, quote, prevent a situation in which the goods produced by Nexperia, finished and semi-finished products, would become unavailable in an emergency. So in an emergency, they're not in an emergency, but if there might be an emergency, we need to nationalize your company now. That's a curious thing. Let's see here. Following the announcement from The Hague, Wintech plunged its maximum daily limit of 10% on the Shanghai Stock Exchange. The Goods Availability Act allows The Hague to intervene in private companies to ensure the availability of critical goods in preparation for emergency situations, and its use comes amid escalation in the U.S.-China trade war. So again, the U.S.-China trade war, which isn't Europe. I have been informed that Europe is not the 52nd state, right? Anyways, but they're taking control anyway. The government statement said that the, quote, highly exceptional move had been made after the ministry had observed, quote, recent and acute signals of serious governance shortcomings and actions within Nexperia. Quote, these signals pose a threat to the continuity and safeguarding on Dutch and European soil of crucial technological knowledge and capabilities. Losing these capabilities could pose a risk to Dutch and European economic security, it said, identifying the automotive industry as particularly vulnerable. So again, there's a lot of coulds and ifs and maybes. Right. In a corporate filing dated October 13th, lodged with the Shanghai Stock Exchange, WingTech confirmed Nexperia was under temporary external management and had been asked to suspend changes to the company's assets, business, or personnel for up to a year. WingTech chairman Zhang Zhiheng had been immediately suspended from his roles as executive director of Nexping Holdings and non-executive director of Nexperia after the ministerial order. Quote, the Dutch government's decision to freeze Nexperia's global operations under the pretext of national security constitutes excessive intervention driven by geopolitical bias rather than a fact-based risk assessment, WingTech said, which I would probably agree with. Again, you'll notice with a lot of this, again, this is coming from CNBC, a lot of shoulds and maybes and coulds and potentiallys, right? This really is a national security concern. It seems like they should be able to put more on the table. It seems like they should be able to put on the table, WingTech was about to shut down this particular factory. That is why we took responsibility for it. WingTech was about to start ripping out robots and sending them back to China, right? I mean, that is a real thing, right? Like, what if China is so concerned about what stuff's going on that they literally decommission their factory and ship their shit back to China? Again, the robots and all that kind of stuff. The curious thing with this is we're not hearing that. We're not hearing any concrete actions Nexperia was taking to degrade the functionality of these facilities. We're hearing coulds and maybes and possiblies, and we hope Daddy Trump likes this. Again, what I will say to the Europeans out there is, when the fuck is your nutsack actually gonna drop? There was a time period, I mean, it was long ago, long before I was ever born, when you motherfuckers actually birthed men. You had men at some point in your history, apparently. I don't know, I haven't fucking seen them during my lifetime, but I have been told in previous lifetimes they existed. But anyways, there again, and that's my frustration with the whole Trump. Like, I don't get this with. It's not that. Like, I'm not mad at Trump. I'm mad at everybody else. Fuck Trump. I'm mad at Trump. But the other thing that I don't understand is how everybody else is just fucking following in line. Again, like the Republicans in Congress, right? They're just pissing over themselves, right? Under the Bush administration, right? It was called the imperial presidency, and under the quote unquote imperial president, that is literally the term of the time period. It was that Congress was going through the legislative process, and he was signing off on it. He said the laws he wanted written, the Senate and the House created those laws, and he signed off on it, right? And that was considered the imperial presidency. We now have a system where the president just doesn't give a fuck about Congress one way or another. He is passing decrees, and the Republicans are like, that's fine. That's fine. What? And then again, like I said, we see with the Europeans now. You see with the Europeans, so much of what's going on is, if they're not lockstep with the United States, they're pretty fucking close. Why? Because they're pissing over themselves over Trump, right? Everybody is pissing over themselves over Trump. It's not gonna work out well for fucking any of us. As an American, it's not gonna work out well for us. And anyway. It added that since it acquired Nexperia in 2019, WingTech, quote, had strictly abided by the laws and regulations of all jurisdictions where it operates, maintaining transparent operations and sound governments, and employs, quote, thousands of local staff through research and development and manufacturing sites in the Netherlands, Germany, and Britain. So yeah, anyways, there you go. So Europe is nationalizing Chinese companies because it's 2025. Why are they doing it? 2025. Oh, are there any concrete reasons that they're putting on the table for why they're doing this? No, you don't need it. It's fucking 2025. The reason you can't trust China, man, is because at any point in time, if the government decides they don't like you or your company or what your country is doing, they can fuck you. And see, that's why you want to be doing business in the Western world, because when we fuck you, I mean, we have the right color skin, obviously. So yeah, I don't know. Will it be curious to see where this goes? Will it be curious? It's gonna keep going, and yeah, I don't know. We're all gonna fuck around. Well, these jackasses are all fucking around, and the entire world is gonna find out. Again, it's interesting with China cracking down on the rare earths, and now Trump is threatening 100% tariffs, stacking tariffs. So it's 100% on top. So we're going back to 150% tariffs, more or less. You have Europe doing what they're doing, and yeah, it's a hell of a thing. So what do you think about this? What do you think about the Dutch government nationalizing a Chinese company, a technology company? What do you think about all the ifs and maybes and could be? Doing something at this level during this time period with so much other stuff going on. What do you think about the fact that it's so fucking airy-fairy? It's not, you would think they would come out and it would be A, B, C. These are the these are the reasons we're taking these steps, and anybody with any common sense would agree with us. And instead, it's like, if there was an emergency, maybe, could be. What do you think about that? I don't know. Put your thoughts. Put your thoughts down below. Do remember, my real pride and joy is Silicon Dojo, silicondojo.com. We do hands-on technology classes. Again, we're focusing a lot on AI things, not because I really care about AI, but because you people care about AI. See, we're gonna have a class coming up. It's gonna be like artificial intelligence using SQL record stores. And you're like, it's AI. And I'm like, it's SQL. See how you do that? See how you do that? You come for the AI and you learn structured query language, the actual important thing. That's the kind of stuff we do at Silicon Dojo. So if you're interested, take a look at silicondojo.com. And with that, see y'all later.